One last time in the BetCM Ross SportsLink studios for Cardinal Kickoff. I'm Roen Elbert. Max Gillie meets Sam Klug.
How's it going, Max?
It was great to get to finally work with you here today.
I know. I hear a lot of good things about you. Lots of good things.
We had to get both of you guys here. We had to do it for the last show.
Yeah, we really did. Quite this season and quite the first run of this podcast. It's been a blast.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, first-year head coach, first-year rebranded podcast. Can't think of a better way to end the season than right here, right now.
Yeah, you're going to, just a little heads up. My head's going to be going back and forth nonstop. But let's talk about this Miami game. 45-24 loss in the season finale for Ball State. And just in the final game for both of you guys, what is your biggest takeaway?
I'll just start off. It's obviously frustrating to end the season the way you did. You would have loved to end it on a high note. I feel terrible for the seniors, but I mean, there were some good things. Kyle Kelly, he threw for 2 touchdowns, threw for over 170. He threw for 177 yards. So I mean, he looked serviceable there. Good game to kind of end his Ball State tenure, and then I mean, we also had some of the other players, really step up as well, but. Obviously, you're frustrated. This isn't how you wanted to end the season, but congrats to Miami on getting the win with the backup quarterback, Thomas Gillie.
Yeah, they're headed back to the MAC championship, 3rd straight year. But kind of going off what Max was saying, this team did not give up. They were fighting to the last seconds. A lot of these players playing their last collegiate game, such as Kyle Kelly, who you mentioned. Nathan Voris is another guy that comes to mind who's been stellar all year. But again, they didn't give up. They had nothing to play for. They weren't playing for a bowl game. They weren't playing to go to the MAC championship, but they still stuck with it. And it was a cold Saturday. Not a lot of fans out on either side to support support both teams, but they kept fighting.
Yeah, I don't envy anyone that had to go through that experience, even though for sure watching the final game of the season, it's a must. Max, you know quite a bit about Gosowski, Miami's quarterback. Ben Davis, you got the connection there. Tommy G getting it done for the Redhawks.
And it really was super happy for Tommy G. He was obviously a good quarterback at Ben Davis. That's why he's able to play at the Division I level. But he's a really nice kid. He played well. I mean, this odds were stacked against him, and realistically, he should have probably folded under pressure last game of the year. And you have a chance to make the MAC championship. And, oh, by the way, you're a true freshman getting the start. But you know what? He played well. Congratulations to Miami and Thomas Gillie and really all of the Ben Davis fans that I know were paying attention to that game.
Yeah, it'll be Miami and Western Michigan in the MAC championship. Thomas Gosowski, he was almost like an MVP in some way for Miami in that game. And speaking of, for Ball State, going on a positive note about this season, who are, for both of you guys, a player that really stood out as very valuable for the Cardinals this year?
I might be stealing what Mac's selection would be. I have to go with Nathan Voris. 12 sacks on this season. I believe he was 1 sack short of the single-season record in Ball State history. And again, I think this is a guy that came in and nobody expected him to play that well on the defensive side of the ball. And that's a side of the football that Ball State really lacked last year. They were an offensive-minded team. They threw the ball a lot, especially with former quarterback Caden Samanza and Tanner Koziel. By the way, he's killing it at Houston. But again, their defense needed to get better, and it did. And he's a guy that came in and really brought a bright spot to that side of the ball. He was like a wrecking ball on that side. Offensive lines probably feared him and watched him a lot in tape. And again, just what a way to end your college career, almost, tying a single-season record at a D1 football program.
I mean, when we look at Voorhis, he was literally in the top for the country when it came to, sacks, which is just something you love to see for a program like Ball State. There were a lot of defensive players who really impressed me, but you talk defense, I'll talk offense in this case. Kyle Kelly ended his career off well for Ball State after what was a difficult journey to start out, but from the offense, I was really impressed by Quay Ashley, especially at the start of the year. The last 3 games, Jalen Bonds really impressed me as well. So those were kind of my 2 big, players on offense for rushing. Then meanwhile for receiving, Keon Magwood, heck of a story for a Ball State Cardinal. He's going to be very happy with the way his tenure ended here at Ball State.
I'm going to go more in the trenches for a guy that I really want to highlight. Left tackle Chris Hood, doesn't get enough love. And really, I mean, a left tackle, they're not going to pop out on the stat sheet at all. But Chris Hood, I mean, amongst a lot of the O-linemen, but Chris Hood at left tackle, protecting Kelly's blind side, did a really solid job.
Yeah, like you said, the offensive line goes, as a whole unit, goes overlooked a lot. And again, it's a unit that struggled at times this year, but again, they stuck with it. They fought to the last moment in a lot of these games, and Maction does not have very nice weather either. So these guys were out there in the mud and in the rain, sometimes the snow. I think we got some flurries on Saturday. So again, a guy like that staying with the program for quite some time and really doing it in the trenches and getting it done.
Yeah, for sure. But with Ball State now, when it comes to what we're missing out on potentially next year, if you want to call it that, 21 seniors will be leaving the program, going on to hopefully bigger, better things. Just so many great seniors that we can go on and on about.
I mean, I think we could have probably just spent this entire podcast going through the seniors one by one, listing their accomplishments. That's what Senior Day was for, but this was a very talented group. Obviously, this team's going to have to look different next year. There's going to be a quarterback battle. The seniors, they are gone. There will be transfers as well. But for the moment here, we can still talk about this Ball State team. Just the seniors, they did a really good job this season, and they should be very proud of the effort they put for Ball State.
Yeah, one thing I'm really looking forward to is kind of our first full season of high school recruits times transfers that Coach U will bring in. We already obviously have some guys hopping in the portal to, look how they want their career to go. And, that's what you get with college football. But we finally get to see what Coach U is really going to cook up in the portal. What guys will he bring in? He already brought in a quarterback. We're going to see how that plays out as he probably battles for the starting job. And like you said, there's going to be battles at lots of positions. The wide receiver position, I come to think of, a position that hasn't really had much talent since last year outside of Keon Magwood. So it's just going to be really exciting to see which guys come in, which guys are, going to put their name on the map for next year. And yeah, we'll see what 2026 has in store.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm pretty sure National Signing Day is right before this episode comes out.
Yeah, and again, that's just another time to see who Coach U has on mind. Again, he really didn't get a full off season to recruit last year. He came in, I believe, right around the beginning of second semester, so he hasn't even been here a full year yet. And yeah, we'll get to see what he does. I'm excited, and hopefully he betters this program.
I got to talk to Coach U quite a bit this season. And for more on that, here are some of the best interview moments, not just with Coach U, but other players this year. Here with head coach Mike Uramovich. Here with quarterback Kyle Kelly. Here with Keon Magwood. Here with Ball State sniper Alfred Shea. Here with linebacker Joey Stemler. Here with Ball State football's Nathan Voorhees. Flies by, doesn't it?
Man, doesn't it? Like when you just said it, I was trying to think. I'm thinking of those 6 years just flying by when I first came in when I was a 17-year-old kid, and now I'm a 23-year-old grown man. I'm just grateful for this place. This place has definitely molded and shaped me into the man that I am today.
Well, we focus on everything on Sunday is the exact same whether we win or lose. And after this interview, this will be the last time I talk about the game because you're my last interview, and we'll move on to Akron. So our staff's already moved on. Our players have. We've been game planning all day today and last night, so we're ready to get going.
All right, then I'll move on. Let's talk about Akron. Dude, you always tower over me in these interviews. And finally, Kyle, it's your last homecoming as a Cardinal. What does that mean to you?
It's very important, especially to get a win. Homecoming is not homecoming. The Cards don't win. We end the week out strong with a dub, then everything will be all right.
It means a lot. It's very surreal. Time flies. I remember my first homecoming when I was here, and I wasn't playing, so more or less just looking at all the events and everything going on. It was, awesome opportunity to play in front of a great crowd like this. All the support that we get from everybody, concession stand workers to police, men and women, everything. It's wonderful. Very blessed and thankful for that. But I love playing in front of the crowd, and once the ball's kicked and once the whistle blows, it's still a game, and we need to go out there and put a show on for the fans. And we can't lose with the shoe. So let's go out there and fly around and have fun with it, and really just enjoy the 60 minutes of hard-fought football.
And you're a very unique player. You're identified as a sniper. For those of you who don't know what that is, can you kind of explain that?
A sniper is like a linebacker, safety, DB kind of, but I play both linebacker and sniper, so it's more of a versatile position. Somebody that like a gadget guy, be able to blitz, play safety, play linebacker, play in the middle, play between the tackles. So just versatile position.
And finally, Keon, 6 years at Ball State. What has the last 6 years taught you on and off the field about yourself?
That's a great question. I learned so much, but just to really sum it up, oh man, that's a really good question. I would just say I really grew up. I'll say that. Like just how to approach things, how to properly prepare for games, and just everyday life. Coming out here, I'm 2 hours away from Columbus, Ohio, my hometown. So I kind of like was moving away from the nest. And me being the only child, I had to grow up and really not be so dependent on other people and depend on myself. So just growing up and becoming a man, definitely.
Back in the Betsy M. Ross SportsLink studio with more Cardinal Kickoff. Joining us today, the Together crew. One last time, Jude Kieffer, Jordan Klimes. How you doing, my friends?
I'm doing good. Jude, you good?
Yep, I'm doing great. Thanks for having us, Roen.
Well, surely you're doing even better now that the show is wrapping up. A lot of accomplishments. Just how are you guys feeling right now, knowing that the process is near the end?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's weird because you hear people in the episode talking about like how it doesn't feel real yet at points, and I think that's kind of what it's going to be like for us.
Yep.
We had a little bit of a moment on Monday after our last interview session where we sat down and like, okay, we just did 13 interview sessions over these last couple of weeks, so it doesn't feel like it's going to happen yet. We're still kind of locked in, ready to go, but it's exciting, and I'm super proud of what we've done so far.
Yeah, it's crazy when you pour, even time over the summer and then the last basically 16 weeks. When you pour all that time into one thing, it's kind of crazy to think that it's just ends on a Thursday in the middle of the week, you know what I mean? But that's what we're approaching, and it's awesome, but it is very abrupt.
I'm just curious with your guys' creative philosophy. When you first signed on to do this project, what were you thinking it was going to look like compared to what it is now?
Go ahead, Jude. You
Yeah,
first.
I don't think I could have expected anything. I think we had an idea. We wanted to do X amount of minutes. We wanted to feature players and coaches and so on and so forth. And I just don't think we really realize even ourselves what goes on inside the walls of a program. So finding out what happens is in the facility is really what showed us what we need to be showing in the show. So it's changed drastically over the course, whether that shows in the series or not. But our approach to things has definitely been evolving since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I've kind of said multiple times when people have asked about this, like, he did most of the stuff over the summer, so I was kind of just chilling, and I show up and it's like, okay, we're hitting the ground running.
Yeah.
My expectations, I expected it to be a lot, but also, like you said, what were you thinking? I don't know. I don't remember what I was thinking. Like, I'm happy that I have done it, and I'm going to continue to do it with this week and everything that we're doing. But it's been a lot. But it's been everything that I think we could have asked for and more for ourselves in terms of a learning experience, in terms of the program, not only SportsLink, but also for Ball State football. So it's been quite the grind, quite the hustle, and an adjustment for sure for the two of us, but it's been a great experience.
Yeah, going into this project, how much were you expecting just the workload? Because obviously it's a lot. How much of that were you expecting going into that?
I think I was kind of prepared for it for the most part. I was talking over the summer with like my brother who's done this type of stuff too. And there's a situation where it's like, okay, we know it's going to be coming out every single week. Like, it's going to be a grind, but I never physically put myself in the spot where it's like, okay, this is actually going to happen until you get there. And then you're in the week and each day goes by and you have your schedule. But like, not to say the weeks go by fast, because there are some times where you're sitting here late at night and you want to be back home and it's dragging. But looking back, it's gone by quickly. And in terms of the workload, it's changed week by week just based off of being a weekly follow documentary. But the workload has been just something we got used to. Like you said, once it's done we're going to hit the next Thursday, it's going to be done. And it's just going to be a whole new world, because the last 13 weeks, this is all we've been used to. And that's a pretty large chunk of time, honestly.
Yeah, for us, I think going into it, I was treating it more like a sprint in the beginning. I was treating every week like I had to just do everything I could that week and every day to get things done. And we really had to shift our mindset to realizing this show is going to be a marathon. And if we're going to last it out to the end, we have to get a lot more disciplined with what we're doing day to day and the structure that we're building in terms of workload, instead of just trying to have maybe take 2 days off and then work really late one night. You've got to really treat it like this is going to be 15 weeks. This isn't going to be 1 week at a time necessarily, although that kind of goes against the philosophy that we were talking about. But realizing that, I think it shows you have to be a lot more disciplined.
Yeah, I know it may be easy to forget that there are a lot of other people involved in this project. Who are some shout outs you want to give right now?
You send them.
Yeah, I mean, all of our episode producers, starting from the beginning with Ethan and Isaiah, and then with Ashlyn and Dylan, and then Josh Bobet, who started getting more involved at the end. The best part about, and then Nate, obviously.
Good graphics team as well.
Yeah, and then our creative team. There's a lot of people who are doing different things, and that's my favorite part, is the unique abilities that we've been able to bring on. And then my favorite part, being a sophomore myself, being able to bring on other sophomores and freshmen.
And then there's just me, who is the unk. But
that's been really encouraging to me. Yeah.
The unk.
I guess so. Self-proclaimed and proclaimed by them too, but it's okay.
Self-proclaimed.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing for the most part.
Fair enough.
It means I have some sort of wisdom, I guess.
Yeah, experience. Maybe. You're the vet.
Something like that.
But now that we're nearing the end right now, what can the fans expect from this last episode?
I think the expectation is just to be, the guys that you've been seeing throughout most of these episodes, and really the core three that we've hit on are Keon Magwood, Kyle Kelly, and Nathan Voris. We're going to hit on them extensively in this episode. So really tie together their story. We're going to cover the Miami game and kind of tell the story of that game, but really encapsulate the whole season. Not only it be just the last episode in terms of following Miami and ending. It's going to be a different structure because there is no next week in terms of what to look forward to. It's the off season and it is the season finale. And so just I would expect for them to see just kind of a discrete ending to the season and also kind of a look forward into what's to come. And, just a finishing off of the stories of the guys that they've seen throughout the whole season and hopefully have drawn a connection to through what the season has shown them.
Yeah, something we talked about, been talking about more recently is letting these guys paint their own narratives and giving them the opportunity to drive their own narratives. With our main guys, specifically Keon, Nathan, and Kyle, those are guys that have been with us from the very beginning, from literally July 28th in the off season, literally report day. They've been every single week in there with us, sharing their story, and we want to give them the opportunity at the end of the season to put the wrap up their own story themselves. So we want to make sure that we give them the breathing room to allow that to happen.
Jordan, Jude, I'm going to get sentimental here.
Oh boy.
What have both of you learned about yourselves in this process?
Yeah, I've talked about it a little bit, but I came into this really with the mindset of wanting to prove myself to other people and prove that I am who I say I am, and then really also in some ways prove that I'm good and that I do great things in this program and then in the future. And I realize that, to stay motivated in something, especially something like this that is, 15 weeks or whatever it is, it takes a lot more motivation. It takes other external motivation. So I really started thinking less about proving myself and more about, I want to do this for Jordan. I want to do this for Nate. I want to do this for Sam. I want to do this for the other people whose names are on this. I want to do this for SportsLink. This is something that SportsLink that their name is on it, and I really want that to be a part of what I'm driving for. And then also just doing it because I love doing this. And when I started really getting into realizing how blessed I am to have this opportunity, it started driving me more.
Yeah, for me, in terms of what I've learned, as we said before, I'm a grad student, so I've been here for a bit. I've worked on future stories, and I've kind of done this in some sort of a way. But this is the first time I've dived into something like a follow documentary, which is similar to other feature stories in a lot of ways, but also has a lot of differences. And specifically what we did this year with a 13-episode weekly series, there is a lot going into that. And so just diving into the world of a follow documentary, pushing myself into something new has been really helpful. It has been something I learned. And something else that I've learned, too, is a lot of projects that I've worked on in the past in SportsLink have, a lot of them been kind of not by myself per se, because you never really do anything by yourself in SportsLink in the professional industry. That's just not how it goes. But it's been primarily myself pushing the project forward in this, it's been really nice to, have Jude beside me and also kind of learn how to be a leader and lead others through the process and not just, have my vision for it and try to execute solely that, but also being the type of leader who's willing to listen, to learn from other people, and to make yourself better in doing that. And so that's something that's really helped me learn as a team this year.
I'm going to be completely honest. I am super excited to tee you up on this, guys. I've heard that you guys have a special announcement you want to make. Take it away.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best place to make it. Obviously, we love Cardinal Kickoff. They've been very supportive
There you go.
of us.
For sure.
We've started transitioning into thinking about the future. I mean, we haven't even finished, as of this episode coming out, we haven't even finished season 1, but we are starting to look to the future. And we've been, at least for the most part, confirmed that Together will be coming back next year. So we're extremely excited to announce that.
Wow. There we go.
I know he's excited.
I am pumped.
Yep.
I don't know if you can tell
As it
by
should
my
be.
face. I am pumped.
I can tell.
I can see it. I can see it. Yeah.
Jude, Jordan, thank you so much for coming on this episode of Cardinal Kickoff.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just shout out to you, Roen, for the whole show, this whole year. You've put together a great product, and we appreciate you having us on. I know we're part of the football story, but not really. So it's awesome for us to come here and talk about what we're doing, share what we do. So we appreciate you and all you've been doing, and yeah, thanks again for having us on.
Taking your time to promote us does not go unnoticed. That's something that you don't have to do. And then again, like something that we preach is like the consistency of your show. This isn't something that's on 1 week off the next week. When they got in the dumps and the team wasn't going the way you wanted, like this was still going and there was a commitment to what we signed up for. So I think we appreciate that as much as anything.
For sure.
Appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with more Cardinal Kickoff. The Cardinal Kickoff is a Ball State Sports Link production. Great stuff from the Together crew. Can't believe that it's almost over. A couple more episodes coming your way.
I know. What are they at? 13 now, maybe 14. It's been quite the season. I mean, shout out to the producers of that doc. It's been a blast to watch every week.
That's right. Jude Kieffer, Jordan Klimes, and the crew, they've been working hard. It feels like every day since, the start of the semester. And, hey, we're nearly at the end of this semester. So great quality content from the fine folks at Ball State Sports Link.
By the way, they're right there behind that camera. We're just boosting their ego a little bit.
They like to hear it.
Yeah, well-deserved. Well-deserved.
Oh, yeah. They're going to win some awards for it. We can't wait to – maybe we'll get to acknowledge them next semester when we bring the show back.
Yeah, perhaps. But honestly, I want to get into more so like going back to the season. What were some of your guys personally, your favorite moments?
We got to get nostalgic here.
Yeah.
I would say for me, it has to go back to the Ohio game. If you weren't there, you got to kind of set the stage a little bit. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon. It's the MAC opener at Schumann Stadium. Great crowd on hand, and it was an awesome ending. The Ball State was pretty much down the whole game, and then a beautiful pass from Kyle Kelly to Keon Magwood for the go-ahead touchdown. The crowd was going crazy. I was working on the broadcast crew for that game, and it was just so exciting to see because – again, there hasn't been a lot of football success at this school in the last 4 years. And it was almost like, wow, we could really have a football team here. And so that was awesome to see. Probably the best moment from the football perspective of 2025.
So my favorite moment, and this was more of just us getting to call the game, I really enjoyed the Akron game on homecoming.
Gotta
It
be.
is the wildest game I've been a part of. We ended up having the rain delay. Ball State played really well in that one. That was a fun one. And then midweek action is always fun. And there were a couple late calls by Ball State, which made the Kent State game on midweek action really fun as well. So I know those are home games. I happen to be calling those games. That's not why it's my favorite, but just overall, those games were really fun.
Yeah,
And that's the definition of Maction. The rain, the midweek Maction, especially the rain coming down. It's at night. And, everybody's in there in their ponchos. Like, that is the definition of Mid-American Conference football.
Yeah, that Akron game, the memories that we'll have from that, doing that halftime report, oh, man.
That's right. If you want rain delay coverage, you got to call Roen and I. We will do a wonderful job just covering rain delay coverage with everyone else knowing what time it's going to come back and then them not telling us.
It wasn't as insane as the Miami game last year in the fall of 24, but it was pretty close. And I was actually driving home to Illinois during that. And I was listening to you guys. You sounded great. It kind of passed the time a little bit, too.
Man, you're making me blush. You really are. My favorite moment, personally, any kind of moment, I'm right here in this studio with you guys.
That's right.
Other than that, on the
You're
football
making us
field,
blush now, bro.
on the football field, other than that, I got to go back to that Kent State game. It was the one home game that I wasn't on the digital broadcast. I was working with Tupelo with Matt Schumacher. I was in the booth. Just that game as a whole, second half, the Cardinals really came alive. The Cam Anthony game-winning touchdown, that was just really a great memory from the season.
Again, and it kind of goes down a list. We've all mentioned these home game wins that were pretty spectacular. A lot of them were come from behind. I don't think the Akron one was, but the Ohio, the Kent State one, both come from behind wins. And again, Ball State getting it done at home. It's always exciting when you get home wins, and they got the majority of their wins at home this year.
Yeah, so they were 4-1 at home, obviously 0-7 on the road. But if we have to look at a road game that was really fun, I want to go back to that UConn game. Now, I know it may be frustrating looking back. We're just like, I wish it went our way. But just overall, it's a close game, went down to the wire. When you look at the home games, that's probably the best, the away games, that's probably the best away game that Ball State had this year.
And honestly, yeah, the UConn game, just because of the emotions of it, Alfred Shea, Nathan Voris, all going back to UConn to play that game, and the Cardinals playing really close with a Jim Mora-led team. I mean, that really was one of those moments where even Ball State at that point, they had only won once all year. They'd beaten New Hampshire. But that's when we kind of realized, hey, this team's got something.
Yeah, and that was a really good UConn team. Jim Mora, obviously now the head football coach at Colorado State. That team, I think, reached 9 wins. So a squad that's really good, and Ball State tested them in an early non-conference game.
But we move on now. We're gearing up for next season. I know it's a little bit of a ways away. August next year, we'll be gearing up for the 2026 season. What are you most looking forward to?
Well, I'll start off with, you open the season at Ohio State. I mean, that's going to be a really fun experience, even if we don't end up getting the call it. Just the fact that Ball State gets to play on a national stage like that one. That game and the Northwestern game are going to be really fun. But I'm really excited for action because when we look at the standings this year, it was so very competitive. We know, obviously, Western, Miami, the championship game. But, we look at the standings. There were arguments for Ohio and Toledo to do well. Central Michigan really felt like they came out of nowhere. They're playing well. So, the top 6 schools were really good this year, and I can only imagine that next year it's going to be just as competitive.
I'm really excited for the new faces coming to Muncie next fall, but maybe even in the winter here of January of 2026. We haven't really had a new face at the quarterback position almost since that bowl year in 2020. It's been pretty... Kyle was here for all 5 years, and the year before this, we had Caden Samanza. So there's going to be some turnover and some new faces at a lot of positions. Wide receiver, some new guys on the offensive line, and the quarterback. So all those position battles are going to be really interesting to see. And who knows, maybe Coach Ute brings in a new coach or two to round out his staff. We'll see. I'm just excited to see the new faces on campus and what this team could be.
I think I can speak for all of us. Well, I'm most looking forward to next season, running it back right here, Cardinal Kickoff coming back. Thank you guys both for just coming along the ride and just enjoying this great season.
That's right. It was a blast. And for an inaugural season of a football podcast in a group of 5 school, I think it was pretty good overall. I mean, a lot of people could say, hey, there's not much to talk about of Ball State football. But if you really dig into the storylines, there's a lot there, and they're an exciting team to watch.
This was a really fun season. The Coach Ute era is starting off well. We can only be excited to see what his sophomore season is going to be like next year.
Yeah, and just overall, what a fun season. It's been so fun to be giving this coverage to everyone. I'm Roen Elbert. That's Max Gillie. That's Sam Klug. Producer right there switching, Matthew Gillie. We couldn't do it without him. Thank you all for such a fun season. We'll see you next year. The Cardinal Kickoff is a Ball State Sports Link production.